Hi. By God's grace, we are okay with our water because the well that we have has got enough water by God's grace. I hear this phrase quite often repeated by people who are dependent on wells. This phrase suggests as if their wells ran dry, it would be God's fault, when the reality is actually quite different. Hi, my name is Dr. Bhakti Devi. I am the founder of Urban Water Doctor. At Urban Water Doctor, we are on a mission to help city water users become water literate and water accountable so that they are able to take care of their own water future. So, let us try and understand the mystery that groundwater is to most people. Groundwater is like a water bank which nature has created so that it can be accessed in times of needs. However, what has happened is that as cities grow, the main supply that they get from the piped water system often gets restricted because as the population grows, the capacity of the piped supply system falls short. And as it falls short, the water supply gets restricted. And as the water supply started getting restricted, people started to access the groundwater which is within their own property. And the rate at which the groundwater is being extracted is quite high. And what people forget while extracting the water from the ground is that they are creating a one way system, a linear system where they're only extracting, using and dumping, extracting, using and dumping, very similar to the city's water system, which the only difference is the city's water system extracts the water from a river far away from the city, uses and dumps it. Over here, we as water users are digging the well, extracting the water, using and dumping. Forgetting the fact that just like money in a bank, if you keep withdrawing and withdrawing and withdrawing without putting anything back in the bank account, of course the bank will run out of money. So, in the same way, it is not a surprise if the wells run dry. So, the fact to say that by God's grace we have water, it is important to also remember that God's grace has indeed provided the water, but it is our doing that we run it dry to the point that we have got all the wells, most of the wells in the cities are completely drying, and they have started to access deeper wells without understanding the fact that there are two types of water banks. One bank is what we call as unconfined aquifer, which is exposed open to the on the top so that when the rain falls it can be recharged, and that is the well that is meant for normal human consumption. Whereas there's another type of water bank or aquifer which sits deep inside, almost always more than 100 meter below the ground, which actually is water trapped between two hard rocks, but the water has traveled in that space by over millions of years. Small volume of water has trickled through the rocks and made its way to that aquifer, and that water is very ancient water, old water, and the quality of that water is not really fit for human consumption. But after exhausting the shallow aquifer, which should have been maintained by recharging it at the same rate at which we extracting. Instead of doing that, when the shallow aquifers run dry, what people started doing? They started to dig the deeper wells from the confined aquifers, which cannot be recharged. So it is very important that people understand what is the type of well they are accessing, how long can the well water last. It is if they are only extracting water out of it, they are simply sitting on a time bomb. And in order for the groundwater use to be sustainable, to be perpetual, it is very important that they take account of how much extraction is happening and what is the potential and the opportunity that there is within their property to recharge that well, the shallow aquifer, so that the balance of extraction and recharge makes sure that there is water at a sustainable level available for the community. So, this is something very important for you to take away, and please give a thought. Go and check what is the depth of the well that your community is dependent on. And if the well is less than 100 meters below the ground, then it is good chance that it is actually a shallow aquifer. It can be recharged with rainwater. If your well is deeper than 100 meters, it is high probability, high likelihood of that well being and coming from sourcing water from a confined aquifer, which is actually not possible to recharge. And therefore, become aware and become conscious of the extraction that you're doing from the wells, knowing that it will run dry, not by God's grace, but your own grace. Thank you very much.